Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hope and the Truth. I'm Lance Parvin. As always, we're here to strengthen our faith in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. With me today, the infamous Derrick Pontier. How are you, sir?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, please, it's my pleasure. Man about God and musician. Let's hear about you, Derrick. Tell the audience a little about who you are.
Well, my name's Derrick Pontier. I'm a professional drummer. Been playing for, over 40 years now. You know, I was raised Catholic, Christian, and everything. Okay. It's always been a good thing for me. Helps me in everything I do with work, music. My life, I have a great family, great upbringing from them. And that's how I was raised in that way. Going to church every Sunday. And now I have my own personal relationship as well, which helps with everything, as I travel so much, so I don't really get into church buildings as much as maybe I should. But I've been in a few different ones, like we were talking about.
Yes.
And everything. So, which is interesting to see the different religions.
Yes.
Catholic, the Baptist revivals, the Mormons, as we were speaking of, which we'll probably get into a little bit more if you like.
Yeah, of course.
And everything. So yeah, music's been good. I've been successful at it. Be able to tour with national bands around the world. Very blessed to do that. I toured with a band called Great White for a long time and played with some other artists from national bands. And it's fun. It's been well. And everywhere I go, I always make sure I'm always praying to keep myself the strength of everything I'm doing, which helps out,
No, but it's good how your faith comes into, a lot of people take for granted that they forget that who gave them a gift. Oftentimes they go, I earned this gift. No, God gave you a gift. And when we start to use it to glorify Him, everything starts to change. You made a very interesting comment because, like I said, you were raised in the church, but you're like, it started to shift to where it was your relationship with God. So as you matured and kind of as your walk continued, what did you see that was a difference, let's say, as your faith got stronger, that it wasn't so much in the building that you were going to, but your personal relationship with God?
Well, it just helps when I pray with what I like to say when I'm out at work, dealing with music, dealing with people, the everyday stresses in life, which I've just been going through the past few months. And a lot of that comes down to like money, financial stuff. So I pray for the right way to deal with that. Like I said, not give me money, give me... No. The tools help with that to guidance. I really believe there's a purpose for everything, a reason. Like we're meeting people, and I kind of maybe going round and round a little bit. That's the way I talk in my interview. I like to do that, but it just in bottom line it helps. I feel like I'm blessed with everything I do, and going to the church meeting was fun. I like doing that. Listening to the preacher. I'm there with my family. It's always nice. But then also from going to different churches, I see also the Calvary chapels. Mm-hmm. We see a bunch of different people at those. I watch people getting saved. Interesting. I was baptized, but I hear there's such a difference. But I keep myself the way I do it. I feel like we were saying how some people have been saved real quick. All of a sudden they change just overnight, and all of a sudden they're judges. I've met some of those.
Yeah.
But I just I listen to them. I like to be open-minded, listen to people. It gets better every month, every year for me, learning more to be less stressed about things and listen to people more often when they want to come at about different, like the judges who judge me for what I do and everything, which you have. And I was like, well, I'm completely drug-free, not an alcoholic, and they've changed themselves, but why are they coming at me? Why do people judge and say things the way they do? I just learned. I've dealt with some pretty bad stuff in the past. So this happened, with the band I dealt with, and I've had to dodge a lot of punches without throwing too many, so to speak. No. I know how to attack right back the right way, and that's what it helps me, just keeping that strength,
No, I think it's a great
Am I
point.
making sense?
It makes sense to me. I get it. When believers talk, it makes sense to me, and whoever's meant to hear it is going to hear it. And so, one of the things is with judgment. There's two things that would have to be in place, which is why none of us can judge. We would have to have never sinned, which we all fell short of that. Number two, we'd have to know the whole story. We don't even know our whole story. So when we look at another person, and I think a lot of people sometimes when they're new to their walk, sometimes when the fire, let's say, has gone out, it's too easy to look at someone else because it takes them looking at themselves. But I used to say, take the mote out of your eye before you're trying to take the beam out of your brother's, because if you're over here saying, well, you're doing this, it's like, but what are you doing? God is love, and the whole thing of being able to help someone out of love, not to be right, that becomes ego. Because it's like, do you want to? You're trying to prove yourself right,
or
are you trying to help? And so, it's a valid point where a lot of people, I think, get scared away because, to me, religion is a control mechanism where man is trying to compartmentalize God in a box.
All the different religions, yes. It's funny. What do they say? The most guilty casts the most stones. Yeah. When you're you're in an argument and someone is blaming you for something that you didn't do. If I do something, I'm going to admit it. I believe in owning everything I do, positive, negative, right or wrong, because that makes you better. okay, see, I don't want to say that doesn't make you better in person, it makes me a better person and better within myself. Like, because what's wrong with admitting what you do is wrong? You know, we always used to hide from certain things. I get embarrassed easily on certain things. I do. You know, because that's just maybe me. I do have an ego. Yeah, I think everyone has a little ego, and there's nothing wrong with it, especially in the music business. But it's keeping it in check and not being an idiot about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So, and I deal with people like that on a daily basis, especially in the music business. And you learn how to explain them, keep it in check without it turning into a fight. I just dealt with that a few months ago. Just try to let people come at me. And I try to be as forgiving. I tell people, Christ forgave the men who killed him. Okay? Let's think about this for a second. The more you think about this, it can actually help in what you do. Hey, we get angry when you're on a traffic infraction. People get all upset with you. I've gotten better at that. Because he forgave the men who killed him and all this stuff. I like to be more forgiving as well. It helps me as a person. Because it's just how being hatred is the worst thing. But it just wears on you. I've learned that past couple of years from some business deals.
Yeah.
You carry it, and it makes you. It can cost you in every way, even financially. And if you can turn things around and know how to separate everything, and praying, asking God helps out. You know, just praying what to do. Help me here, and of course listening to other people here. You know, and just kind of it helps in every way. So my family, it kind of like certain things you get blinded by things. You think just one direction. You're like okay, why is this happening to me? I think it's all a learning experience.
You start looking into it.
Exactly. Instead of being aggravated about like why I do something and change it, because it's like you got to like the term every man for himself, especially when it comes to business. But you also got to keep other people's best interests at hand, along with yours in business. So I pray to also to be able to deal with people.
Absolutely. There's a big thing especially with with forgiveness. Too often people they're like, well, this person's not accepting. I go, we forgive to let it go. If you're holding on, it's like a hot coal, and you're like, I'm going to show you. It's like you're hurting yourself. You're not hurting them.
Exactly. That's been a learning process for years, and me being 30. No, I always joke about my age in interviews. I love to do that. You learn. I know people that are a lot older than us that are just not forgiving. They're just really bitter, and no matter what age you can be, it's just good to let it go. Certain things you can't forget. Real bad things you can't forget, but once again, you still got to remember. Okay, I got to forgive this, and just why is it weighing on me? I got to just completely. But like certain things, you just don't associate with those certain people. It kind of goes away from me.
And I mean, that's the thing is that people, and it's interesting how people take worldly doctrine and they try to mix it in with the Word of God. It's like God forgave us at our worst.
Okay.
For what we were not at our best, at our worst. He saw this, sinning, goes, this one's mine, and so. The world will tell you, well, forgive, but don't forget. Well, here's the issue with that. If God was keeping a checklist, right, because he throws our sin in the sea of forgetfulness. And so, although when we forgive someone, you're like, I let it go. Sometimes people don't understand, like, how can you forgive me? Because I was forgiven. And to walk forward in that way of thinking, you go, I'm not keeping a checklist. I might not do business with you again.
Exactly.
But that's learning. But in reality, you have no ill will. Because again, if anything that we're burning, and same thing with people that don't let stuff go, you start to see their lives deteriorate. And people don't understand why. Like health-wise, certain things start happening because you're holding on to something. And it becomes a spiritual sickness.
Stress can mess you up in every way.
Absolutely. People can have all this money, and some of the most unhappy people that I know have the most money. And so when people are saying, well, money cures it, well, money doesn't cure anything. And that's the problem, is people are trying to fill a void a lot of times with stuff.
And I believe there's nothing wrong in wanting to have all that, because while you're here, why not? But it's the attitude behind it. Don't be all good. Look at me. Look at how you see the people, especially in Southern California, where I've been there for a long time, and you deal with a lot of people that have self-entitlement. But then again, I can't be judging. I just got to help overlook it because I still get a little aggroed in traffic as I try not to. I just a couple days, just have my moments. I was on the strip the other day, stuck as usual. I'm like going, but I'm part of the problem too. So I'm blocking people as well. And I'm getting angry at everybody else. And my friend's on the phone. She goes. She's a friend of mine. I think she was sent for a reason to help me out. A friend of mine's here in Vegas. We're just talking on the phone. She's like, will you just be cool? I go, I'm hungry. I need a shower. I was going to do a gig. I got to be up in the morning for work. So what? I made a wrong turn, and I'm sitting there cutting everybody off as well. Because the strip, you know how the strip is. And everybody's, I'm part of the problem too, but I'm yet pointing at them, and everybody's doing the same thing. It's just taking deep breaths and just, not blaming everything else, which I do, still. Like this right here helps me doing this morning. Every little thing, every day you get up's a good day. Any day above ground's a good day.
Yeah, he allowed us to wake up. I mean, we can look back and actually see in all of our, because he's the one who's giving the increase. We sow seed, some water, some you throw out the seed, but God gives the increase. And so oftentimes, Jesus is the one that's taking us on our path. And when we can look back and go, wow, how did I change this much? That self-reflection, because he's doing it.
Yep.
You just said yes. That people think, I'm not doing anything. I can show you how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. I go, he's the one that's taking us on this walk. And so you can see the advance in your life. And the mistake I think a lot of people make when they judge, God knows your heart.
Yeah.
We don't know another person's heart. Too often we're quick to judge. A person could mess up every single day of their life, but they're honestly seeking God. And for a person to judge that, I go, that's the problem. I mean, even son of Sam, he found Christ. Now people would say, well, that's I go, all things are possible with God. So for us to say something's impossible, we're doubting. Yeah. We're doubting these things. Being in the entertainment industry, because I'm sure you get this and why there's a lot of judgment. Oh. How do people say, well, how do you apply your faith in that industry? And I'll let you answer.
Like I said, just for me, praying and keeping good faith to be able to deal with everybody in it, because I've dealt with every scenario in the business, dealing with either what deals with money, other musicians, just ego, who I want to work with, who I don't want to work with, all the backstabbing, people saying this about you, and you have a situation where you're just defending yourself, rebuttaling, and everybody thinks you're the bad. I'm always the bad guy. I'm like, I tell people now, people will say certain things, so I just end arguments saying, well, I'm the bad guy. Hey, you're perfect, I'm not. Yeah. You're just the perfect being, whether it's in relationships with some of the girls I've dated or musicians I do, which is almost the same thing. Yeah. 4 or 5 guys, a marriage. This is what I love. Like you have an argument with a girlfriend. I've never been married. Okay. And for good reason. I can't stomach half the ones I've dealt with because it's just, and I'm not judging them. Of course. It doesn't work, but yet, you can't handle marriage. I go, oh, really? I can handle 4 or 5 guys in a rock band or a band where, whether if I'm controlling the situation or not, like a lot of things I run, because I've been a manager, I was in the Air Force, as a sergeant, I can handle things. But women will go, well, you can't handle this. I go, really? I can handle this, which is almost as worse than a marriage, because you've got 5 egos to deal with, or more or less. But you think I can't deal with one girl? I just pray, go, help me, Lord. Help me. Get me out of this relationship one way or another. Yeah. I thank you for that as well.
Of course.
But I just like to be straight. I mean, nobody's perfect, but everybody's so many people. So I'm like, you're perfect, I'm not. Let's just end this.
And that's the best way to do it is, apologize, be like, well, I'm not wrong, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Why engage in an argument? Because again, convincing someone, if you see colors, and everyone else sees black and white, you could never show them what you see.
Exactly.
So you're not going to convince someone. Our job is never to convince people, it's to prepare them.
Persuasion, now, you can, I believe in persuasion being a good thing. Yeah, it can be a bad thing, but also in business, and trying to, like, sometimes you got to try, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but when it's in business, trying to persuade people to do things the right way, I think that can be good. What do you think? I mean, I know it's a very,
I know what you're saying.
Weird. You know what I'm saying?
We set standards. Meaning when a person says, this is just how I do it, you can, remember we all have free will. You can't take a hostage to the kingdom. And so what people often do is they're trying to drag someone that goes, look, we are all given that option. And the same thing is that we're representatives. So how we carry ourselves is not just what we say, it's what we do. Right. And that's which is why people say, these Christians are hypocrites, because what people are saying and what they're doing don't line up. And that becomes the problem. It's that you have to live it. When Jesus said, there's no greater love than to lay down your life. How about your lifestyle? Because you'll start to actually adapt, because truly if you believe, you'll follow. And you'll start to see, well, wait a minute, these people are watching me. And I am a representative. And if they're watching me, because someone could never say a thing to you, they just see how you live in your life, and they know, they're like, well, this guy doesn't believe. Well, how do you know that? You never talked to me. But they see how you handle yourself in business. They see how you handle, and that's what someone's viewing. Oftentimes it's not what we say. It's what we're doing. That's what a person's seeing. Yeah, like you mentioned you asked about the entertainment industry. You're automatically judged on stage, thanks to the cliche. First off, I'm not a drug user, never have been. Not a heavy alcoholic. I drink a little bit, so but I'm not an idiot about it. It's just like, and I just don't believe in doing that. I like to have fun like everybody else, but they instantly think, oh, the look, the whole deal. What does that have to do with it? I've known some senior musicians who are Christian that don't do anything. Kiss. Nothing. Yeah. No drugs, businessmen. They're but that's what I also, when people judge, I actually almost welcome it. Yeah. Because I am ready. I'm an argumentative guy. I can be. I like to debate when I have to, when it's for good reason. I like to argue and fight when I have to, especially sometimes using these it's not the whole thing. If sometimes you feel like that, dealing with certain people.
I always believe in something to do when you only have to. It just doesn't, it gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
But some people, when they start judging so much, it can wear on you. So I'm like, okay, I try to turn, debate to where I find that, like with an atheist, we were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
They get angry. Angry with something they don't believe in. How can you be? You don't believe in it.
Yeah.
But they judge. Like we were talking about, you're this, you're that. Oh, really? Especially the ones who are like, I've known the ones that, like, the ones who are vegetarians and do all this vegan stuff, but yet their health is not that good. Yet they talk about what we do, what we eat. Yet they eat candy like it's going out of style.
Yeah.
What's better about that? That's why I don't like those. But after a while, sometimes I don't like to debate people anymore because some arguments you can't win, like arguing with a girlfriend. You're not going to win that. I never have. You never do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Excuse me, I don't mean, but I don't win my arguments with girls. I never do because it's like they're coming at me,
Yeah.
So I just try okay, let's just debate. They do the games. I'm like, Lord, why are they doing these games with me?
And some things
I
try to
told you
bait
to
you
stay.
in.
I meant we're to leave. I meant you to stay.
Yeah. Like, I don't, Lord,
you told me to go.
Show me.
Go.
I need to. And then you really say, like, Lord, I need help.
Lord told
I
me to
don't
go
know.
as well. As he say, Dirk, get out of that house. Even though
No.
she may want you to say, go. Just
Because we start understanding things that we're not to lean on our own understanding. Because we see a lot of things by our sight, and we don't get it. It's not how it actually appears, and we're like, well, I need help with this. It looks one way, and it's something completely different. Right. So he often will open our eyes to the truth, and that throws people off. Because I think, number one, people like to think they're in control. Number two, people want to be right. And that's one of the things with acceptance and being humble is you realize you're not right. See, with truth, I don't have to defend truth. Truth is truth. You don't believe in the rain, go outside, you're going to get wet. I don't have to prove that, just like you don't have to prove your name. You're not going to stand there and argue your name with somebody. Like, you have a nice day, my name is Derrick. I'll see you later. But what ends up happening is there's a baiting spirit that tries to pull you in based on ego, spirit of offense. It'll pull you in, be like, well, what about this? It's like someone saying, well, the Bible's not true. Okay. Me arguing that, if that person doesn't want to believe it, they don't want to open their eyes, they're not going to open their eyes, and that's fine. And
certain arguments are not worth
of course.
It's just like anymore. I've used to argue so much, I don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
All it does is just, I know, especially the older you get. In my 20s, oh yeah. 20s, and also in your 30s, a little bit. 40s, So, did I say 40s? I meant 30.
Yeah. You're right, the 40s.
No, you just, and I'll tell you hit a certain age, you're like, I don't want to deal with this. It just wastes time.
Yeah.
I know I always stay focused, and just certain people deal with. I know who I want in my life and who I don't.
Yeah.
Put it to you like that, and just
that makes sense.
Lord helps that kind of. Can you just pray like, what should I do? Guidance. It helps me.
Yeah.
People have their own ways of doing things. I have my ways, and
that's good. I mean,
you learn. Every day is a learning experience.
We're always learning until we're no longer here till we finish our race.
Yes.
So with this will give you, and see, I like this. I find that the more I can do, my life was a catastrophe before he opened my eyes, and so because I was a professional sinner, that's really what I was. I was a sinner that said yes.
I like
but
that. You ever seen movie Fletch Lives?
Yes.
I never seen any Polaroids of it, but I've sinned and I'm sorry about it.
And here's the reason why that's great is because one who is forgiven more loves more.
Right.
And so the experience that you have and what you've had access to, what you've seen, especially when you run into judgmental people, because you're in the music industry and you've traveled, you start to have another take on life because you've been exposed to many people. So tell me some of the stuff on some of the tours and concerts of what you've seen with the same, let's say, individuals that would judge you. You see doing, and you're like, wait a minute, why am I being judged?
Yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
Yes.
Where people judge and they're doing things like, well, you're judging me, but you're doing that, and so just things.
Yeah, I understand.
Everything. Just whether it comes to people doing drugs or whatever else, or just the wrong stuff, the way they treat people. Just pot calling the kettle black, so to speak.
Yeah.
I guess, and just casting stones and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of like, it's just a lot of stuff that I've seen.
It's like a person who never leaves their city telling you about a country they've never been to based on what they've been told.
Right.
And I go, the only way you're going to know is if you go. And then you see it, because too often I think we're influenced by what other people are saying. Same thing with musicians. Well, you're all, womanizers and drug dealers. And it goes, well, wait a minute. Do you know this, or is this the opinion that's been shaped for you? And I think that's uncomfortable for people to realize that their way of looking at life has been molded.
Right. Like say you're out on tour and you have a girlfriend, okay, and she gives you a green light to go out and just date, do whatever, and yet they'll start throwing stones at you, and half the time you have no time to do anything. Lobby calls, flights, bus tours.
Yep.
And there's no one else on that bus except the people on the manifest. And everyone thinks, well, the girl's like, well, you're doing this. I see these pictures. And you know what? Stop looking at social media too much. It's a picture. Well, and they this is what bothers me when I start getting just nailed about stuff because of a photo, the way something looks in a photo. All of a sudden, I was hanging out with that girl, which I wasn't. As I have a girlfriend, I'm trying to be as low as I can to someone who's just yelling at me nonstop. I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to win. Think what you want. But yet this girl is dating someone the whole time while she's doing this to me. And I knew it.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. Like, I'm trying to be, okay, I'm going to be cool here. Lord, help me again. I don't know. I can tell when someone looks at me, when they swallow hard, they look down, they're lying.
Yeah.
You know it. I go, you just come on, I already know. Not that it really matters. Because, I can't cast some stones either in that direction, but at least I gave it an honest effort,
Yeah,
so,
of course.
But that's just one of the things. You're judged no matter what.
Of course.
Especially, so it's...
it's interesting. Well,
yes.
Oftentimes what's in a person, they start seeing in everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating thing. It's like, well, why are you, I'm not doing this. Why is that overwhelming thing coming over? You're like,
you're the one out touring and traveling, you're meeting all these people, you're instantly the one who's putting that cliche, other than the person who's staying at home. Oh, I'm just being so good. Right.
Because
just tell me what you're doing. I'm not going to care.
Yeah.
Don't lie to yourself because you're being seen.
Of course.
All right, Neil.
Yeah. We can lie to each other. We can lie to ourselves. You're not going to lie to God. He knows everything that's. And when you have that, the beginning of all knowledge is fear of God.
Yeah, and you go, Lord, what is this? What's going on here? You may not get a direct answer, but the answer is figure it out for yourself.
No.
If you can't see it,
you always get an answer.
Exactly, and you get it's just like I said, we're talking about Lord, give me money, give me this. No, go work for it. Look what I've done. You go, look what I created.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? you know what I'm saying? Don't think about it. All this work, the world. If you want, can you just give me this and give me that? Go work for it. Yeah. I believe there's just tools. There's a reason for everything you do.
Of course.
That's what I think. Anyway.
God is precise. I think oftentimes people request things, and they say, "Well, He's going to give me whatever I need." It's like, well, you got to look at the whole thing, because the desires of your heart's going to change. If you're truly asking, Solomon asking for wisdom and understanding to help others. He didn't ask for all the money. He was given that stuff because it was used for the right reason. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with having stuff. The problem is people then put it before God, and they become very selfish. And I think that's a time that you can see that. People have become very self-absorbed, and they refuse to help others. But it's like, that's why we're here. If you have stuff and you can help those around you, why wouldn't you?
Like for example, I don't ever, I like to go out. I've done food drives. Past Thanksgiving, I went out, homeless people around here. I was here for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Went out and handed out some food. Well, I think you get smiled at for that, helping somebody on the street, no matter what their position is.
Of course.
Man, it was nice to do that. I enjoy doing that. It was cool. It was a hot 80-degree day. I got water and some snacks. Not turkeys where they cook it, but I gave them some stuff here, just something like that, and I haven't asked for anything for it. It's just something to, it's going to help. I believe you want you to help people as much as you can. I've done that music. But then sometimes even when you do go out and help people in certain situations from disasters, and people sometimes will still look at you. Lord won't, but people will.
Yes.
But we don't care if you try to help us. We're still upset anyway.
Yeah.
But fine. At least I know what I did for the Lord. So it's...
Of course.
People are going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. We're not doing stuff to please... we help people, but you understand if you're trying to please everyone, you're never going to do that. You're always going to have people that are coming
I know.
Coming against you, mocking you, scoffing you, and you're like, wait a minute. And you're like, thank you, Father. Because, again, He sees it.
Yeah.
And He knows why the sincerity of the heart of doing
people down
these
here
things.
take advantage of it. Yeah, been there too with that one.
Yeah.
Trying to help, take advantage, but then I've also learned how to do things the right way. I don't want to use the word get. I don't want to use the word get. I don't use the word. What's the right word when someone does something? You go get back at them, but in a way of trying to teach them a lesson.
Well, that would be revenge in a way, but
yeah, I guess it's kind of doing any business format, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not in a mean way, because I know that's not good either.
Yeah, no.
Two wrongs will make a right.
Of course.
And you start to... As human, we're down here on earth, we're still...
Yeah.
We try to do the best we can.
He's teaching us. That's for sure. He's teaching. And oftentimes you start seeing, as we continue on our walk, it's like, I got to pray for this person because, Lord, they have to deal with you. They don't have to deal with me. Whatever they're going to go through is far worse than anything I can do because they don't get it. I look at stuff like when I was just awful.
Professional sinner.
Professional sinner.
I never heard that term before.
I was an atheist for 20 years. Really, I'd broken all the commandments multiple times, and you start to see that He saved me.
Yeah.
So anyone has that same option. And when you see someone, let's say how I used to be doing the same thing, you go, Lord, they don't see it. Because I didn't see it. Like I didn't understand it. And you pray for them because you go, wow, please open their eyes. Send someone, if they're not hearing me, that'll open their eyes so they can understand what they're doing to you. Because until you go, wow, I didn't realize how much of a mess I was. Then you see, because there's nowhere to run. You can't say, oh, it's this person's fault. And I think too often that's what people do. We tend to blame. Because we don't then look at ourselves saying, that mirror is not there. It's like, look what they're doing. It's like, look what you're doing.
Yeah.
I find that when he shows us something about another person, it's to help clean up what's in us.
Right.
It's never going to be to go pick them apart or to judge them.
Let me ask you, if you don't mind me asking, when you, with some of the atheists that I've known, like, I have a buddy of mine who I was in a band called Stryper. I played in a band with, the Christian rock band.
Yes.
And he has friends that are atheists as well, and that's called being open enough to be able to understand. So I like hearing what people have to say, because did you ever argue religion with people?
Oh, when I was an atheist?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you didn't believe in it, did you argue about God?
And here's the thing that
I'm
was
just curious.
interesting. Oh, no, absolutely. Because when Christ woke me up, because my life was very similar to Paul, I was literally murdering people with my words. I was corrupting Christians.
Wow.
I was corrupting them, because what would end up happening is that there was not a grounding, and so I would use the gift he gave me, which was speech, to cast seeds of doubt. So oftentimes what would happen, the question I would ask people is, well, how can you have divine intervention and free will? Because if you have free will, why would God interfere? And they couldn't answer this. Well, Jesus summed that up beautifully to me when he opened my eyes. He goes, divine intervention are the options you're given in a day. Mm-hmm. Free will is what you pick. He's not picking for us. So too often we have decisions. Because I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Sometimes there's stress on the choice to see, because that's your faith being tested. Do you believe?
Yeah.
Because whatever you say, you are going to walk through. People don't often get this. Like, he's not going to have us speaking in hypocrisy. So if you're saying, I'm doing this, better put on your work boots, because you're about to go walk through it. And so what ends up happening, the reason that I say that I turned that way of atheism is because when I was younger, I was raised Catholic and Jewish. I had a lot of questions. No one could answer them. And I started getting mad.
Oh, okay.
And so then I started going after the world and using logic. And so what would end up happening is when people would try to sow their seeds, that anger was there. It's not a matter of, like you stated very early and very succinctly, I might add, is that why would you argue something you don't believe in?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, it's true. I haven't done it.
It's like starting a club for unicorns and you don't believe in them. You're not going to waste your time in something you don't believe in. So there's something that's there that they're arguing about, that they're trying to convince themselves of.
Well, they think they can get away with so much because they're not being watched. That's what they think.
Yes.
I seen a billboard at one time. Well, I can do this because I'm not being watched.
Yes.
Okay, all right, believe what you want, but it's like, just don't. What I don't like is when people attack for what you believe in, for who you are. And that's what happens. Like, okay, dude, I understand who you are, but just don't attack me about it, or build up things in your mind, what you think I am.
Yeah.
Or because of whatever your anger is or something. I'm not angry, well, you sound like it.
Yes.
I would tell people that, but it's one of those things you're not going to win. Some people may, like you, got out of it. Other people, they just got to go all the way to the end to find out what happens in the end.
Correct. And I mean, at that point, what I had seen, when he laid out that tapestry, I could see every decision I ever made at once. And I could see the people that had sown seeds throughout my life. So until you're confronted with truth, there's nowhere to run. I could not say I didn't know at this point, because he had showed me everything at one time. And too often, he'll get us to the point that we need to be at. Meaning that's why people, they complain about correction. They complain about trauma. How do we learn? We learn through trauma. You're not going to leave the carnival if you're having fun. When the carnival burns down, then you're going to say, help me. And it's the opposite of what the world tells people, is that when everything's going your way, you're blessed. And when things are going against you, you're cursed. However, if you're on the wrong track and stuff starts falling apart, so God gets you back on the right one, that's why. That's love. When you discipline a child, it's because you love them. If you don't love a child, do whatever you want. But when he loves you, he's going to say, I'm going to apply some correction. And that's what people don't get. They fight against that, but they go, we're being taught something. We might not understand the whole picture, but we have to start to see, why is this happening to us? And then you can look at every situation you go through and go, what am I supposed to learn from this? And then everything starts to change, I think, in your life. There's another question I have, because when you were on tour, you got to see the media painting these images of you. For kids now that are looking to social media as their truth, as their thing, how can you advise them saying, look, back, even in the 80s and stuff like this, they were painting images of us that were not true. So how much more now, before you judge people, don't believe everything that you're being shown.
Oh boy, this is a subject I just love. No, because, social media has its place. and I believe everything has its positive, yet it has a lot of very negatives. I saw something the other day that just made me want to almost throw up. There's a internet game. It's called, you show an active shooter in a school. I saw it on the news, and you show cops. That's like a training guide. Yeah. That's not what. This is the problem, where kids or even adults, it's made everything worse. Like years ago, as a musician, you could make a mistake. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Because these days, especially if people don't like you or what band you're in, if there's a mistake made in the West Coast, it's in the East Coast within minutes. Yeah. And everybody judges. If they already hate you, it just makes it worse.
Yeah, of course. Oh.
And that's why I don't like there's all these judgmental haters, and most of them is jealous. Jealousy is the worst thing on planet Earth. And social media has just amplified that as well. And you can see it. I don't do the fights on there. I'm old school. You don't debate, you can do eye to eye. Even on a phone. Don't be the keyboard tough guy. Yeah. But that's all you have going on these days. But social media has just ruined so many things. Yeah. I think it's good. And I saw this one interview on, I think it was on my internet or something. I was watching, some guy was talking about millennials and all this stuff. He was sitting around the nailhead. And it's really corrupting a lot of stuff. But yet it has its good points. I use it for good. It does. I like to be positive. I like to keep positive about it. But there's so much negative and stuff that's going on. And it's just...
It's a tool.
It's a tool. And it can be a good tool, but also it can be a very... I think a lot of people would agree with what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
So it's got to be used wisely, which it's not. And these days, kids are ruling the roost these days. Where's the discipline? You see it now with the new generation. There's disrespect for people. So sometimes being in our age, right, you want to teach them respect.
Yeah.
These days, you can't even raise your kids. I was raised the right way, raised with discipline.
Yes.
These days, you can't even do anything like that.
No. It's changed, and there's an absence of God, and people don't get this because it took generations. You have the older generation that's passing away now that were very self-sufficient. Yeah, they could do all these things, and then you see people now they're taking analog clocks out of schools because you can't read them. Yeah. So when people tell me that people are evolving, I go no. I go if anything, it's a de-evolution. What's happening is people have become too reliant on stuff. They're not self-sufficient. There's an absence of God, and so people they kind of like, well, do whatever you want. And it's whatever kind of floats your boat, that's the right thing. But that's the problem, is that people, and even a lot of kids that we speak with now, they're craving structure. They want structure.
Yeah, I'm glad they're like that, because a lot of them aren't. A lot of them just live by video games.
Yeah.
And they get aggressive. And I think, what's going on in the world now was going on 30-something years ago. Mm-hmm. And I just see a lot of stuff that, I'll give you an example. I was sitting in an internet cafe once. I was doing business on a computer as mine was working. And there's these kids playing these violent games. Now, these kids are in their 8, 9, 10 years old. Their language, I would have my mouth washed out with soap.
Yeah.
When I was at,
I remember that.
You should have heard F this, and all they're doing, this the aggression. I'm going,
yeah.
Wow, that's the generation, and these are the type of people that grow up doing what's happening right now. From what I don't know, maybe not just
there is a condition.
But it does, like, wow, this is really something else, but it's not. But I'm listening, going, wow, listen to these kids. Do they have any structure, they have faith in their life, and their parents, they were religion, anything, they're just so, I'm going, wow, if that was my son or daughter, they wouldn't be talking like that.
And we see it because we have discernment. But the world will say, no, it's just a new generation. I go, no. I go, there's a corruption that's happened over time where we look at stuff, and what's happened is, I'll tell you right now, the world has normalized sin. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why people don't see how far, when you talk about sound doctrine, it's gone so far away. People are like, well, that's extreme. I go, no. It's because now everything's become normal.
Yeah.
And that's
on the news. Oh, that's normal.
Yeah.
You're not surprised.
No. It's a numbing effect. And then you say, this iniquity rising or hearts waxing cold. You can see it and you go, oh, I see proof of concept. That's the difference. When Jesus was here, everyone had an idea of what he was going to do. Man had an idea. They were wrong. When they were wrong, they turned against him. The same people that were walking in the triumphal entry were the same ones in the audience when he was being crucified because he didn't overthrow the Roman Empire. I go, how much more now when people have a preconceived notion that, I'm doing what I need to do. It's like, well, they were wrong then. Maybe we should start checking with him of what we're supposed to be doing. I think there is a shift that's happening where you have people that are embracing their faith and saying, look, we got to help the kids. We got to do stuff, and it's not going to be the way man says to do it. It's got to be my way. No, it's got to be his way. And I think that will start to wake people up because he is calling people from all walks of life, from all parts of the world, to work together. And as long as a person's judging, well, why would he call you? You're in the music industry. Well, why do you think I'm there? Who do you think put me there?
There's another one right there for you.
Go on.
Some people are like, Lucifer got what, the angel of
Fallen Angel?
Yeah.
The Prince of the Air?
Yeah, and everybody's, well, musicians are tools of the devil. They're pushing all this. This is just the bad. They think, like when they've attacked Ozzy or Judas Priest, they think that these people are like working, or every musician is working for Satan, no matter what kind of music is. Really? Oh yeah, we're out there trying to tell these people what to do. There's the people that attack you for that, and the judges once again. So. And there are people that do it.
Oh, there are. Yes. At the same point,
there are ones out there.
He's going to put lights in different. He's not going to put all the lights together in one place. They're going to be spread out to illuminate the darkness. So again, you can't look at an industry and say everyone, because that's being broad and you're being judgmental. Because far be it for anyone to say this person's a terror and they turn out to be a wheat. And it's like, because again, we forget. You start to really. You're slow to speak and quick to listen when you understand that everything that comes out of your mouth we're being judged on. Yeah. And that will change how quickly people react, but that's why it says, Solomon said the beginning of knowledge is fear of God. Because everything in your life will change when you go, wait a minute, I'm being watched all the time? It's like, all the time. And I don't mean by video cameras.
Yes.
Any other thing you'd like to leave the youth with now, a message that has helped you throughout your life?
Keep things kind of old school, no technology, but quit depending on such social media.
Yeah.
Quit believing everything you read. Falling into, be an individual, be yourself. Don't just go in groups what everybody else is doing. Live, have fun, but don't be just, use social media for what it is.
Yeah.
And keep the faith, and people are going to believe what they believe in, and everything, and just, do things the right way. Quit just being so I got to do this, I got to follow the crowds, Wake up, stay off social media. Get out and do things.
God made you different to stand out.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
You're in this world, not of it.
Pray, and if stuff's bad, don't just jump on a computer. Do things. Keep it real.
Do you have any events coming up?
Gigs? I have a gig on June 1st at the Hard Rock Live.
Okay.
I just played there Saturday, last minute gig.
All right.
And then getting ready to do the Elvis Shadow of a King gig, starting rehearsals pretty soon.
All right.
I think we're doing a show, like in August, I believe. And then there's other stuff. I got gigs going on back east and California, stuff all over the place. So
all right. Perfect.
It's good, yeah.
Keep your eye out for him. Any way you want people to get in touch with you? Do you have a website?
I have. You can find basically I have a Facebook, which I use positively. I use I don't argue religion and politics on there. Cameras, people. I use it as a tool. It's got some social stuff on it, but also is in business. But you can find me on there, Derrick Pontier, Facebook. Also, just Google my name. It takes you to different websites and different bands I work with and stuff's on there. And I use social media positively, the right way.
Remember that. So, positive. Yes, it's a tool. Use it for positive stuff.
Positive stuff. Don't go, oh, look, I'm having a sandwich today. Yeah. I'm upset. I'm in an argument. Oh, my house is open. Come to it. You know what I'm saying? Just people, it's just like, just wake up and just, use what is right. I believe in technology, but it's got to be
for the right reason.
Exactly.
Brother, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.
As always, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Hope and the Truth. God bless.
Thank you.